Hello, this is Nat, half of Sippin' Tea with Nat and Z. Today's quick sip is about closure. Closure means finality, letting go of what once was. Finding closure implies a complete acceptance of what has happened and an honoring of the transition away from what's finished to something new. Many people associate closure with the ending of a relationship, but there are so many other areas in our lives that we may look to let go of what once was. The ending of a significant piece of one's life, a relationship, job, a particular stage of life, or a way of thinking, all of which may be difficult and even very painful for many of us. So we decided to share some ways to find closure to those things that may haunt us. So in this time of COVID, we've all had to take some more time or been forced to take some time to reflect and kind of take the time to look at how we've been doing things to this point. And some of that involves taking responsibility for yourself. What and who are you holding on to, and why? Is holding on your excuse to stay stuck in the past? What do you think will happen once you let go? And looking at grieving the loss of what has been lost to you. We've talked about grieving the loss throughout our podcast. We've talked about the gravity of grief and the impact that it can have, and some of the steps that can help us kind of work through that. And also remember, unfinished business must be completed and resolved before you can move on. And a lot of times when you're going through those things of trying to figure out how to move on, it kind of makes you think of how do you accept that you may not get the specific closure you feel you deserve. You want to be vindicated. You want the other person to acknowledge that what they did was wrong. But as long as you can convince yourself that the other person holds the key to your emotional jail cell, you give yourself a license to continue to remain invested, which is not always the best thing. So when you're looking at how to move past those things, you also have to think about, how do I make a plan for the future? What can I determine what is most important to help you move forward? And then when you focus on moving forward, you'll be in a better place to attract new possibilities, which is exciting and something to definitely look forward to. And then finally, letting go of unhealthy patterns and stepping into health. Looking at how we have time to kind of look at what we're doing with our type of foods we're eating, our physical activity. Some folks are walking more, reading more, and anything that affects us mentally, spiritually, and physically. These are all things that, come into play when we think about what may aid in us getting closure. And then ruminating over a situation for long periods of time will actually cause more pain. So we really have to think about those time frames that we give ourselves as what we think is acceptable to find closure. And closure is an inner self journey. It requires you to find peace on your own, and the way you do it is definitely on you. And it's like any journey. It's not a straight line. It's wild. It's messy. It's up. It's down, sideways, and definitely not one size fits all. What works for your girls and your family may not work for you. And you have to stand in that truth and make sure that you take care of yourself and work through that as you see fit. And definitely be patient with yourself and understand and know that it's a process. So stay tuned for our newest episode coming next week. And thank you for taking this quick sip with us. Take care.